twist it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's show. Joined with a special guest, brother, my little brother, younger brother, and little brother, Mike Paczkowski. So we're going to be getting into some fun stuff here, talking about his evolution over the past few years. But quick reminder for you guys, for those that haven't seen it on media or out in our email list, we have a mindset challenge coming up. It's a 6-day challenge. Super excited about with a group of guys looking to level up their mindset, their leadership, their legacy. And we're starting that coming on February 1st. If you guys want to check out any details on that, would love to see you guys in the group. The link is right there in the show notes. Go ahead and check it out. And as always, reach out if you guys have any questions on that. But without hesitating anymore, let's introduce Mike into here. Mike, man, I'm stoked to have you on here. My first family guest, which super excited about.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here, Dave. Obviously, like I said, looking up to you my entire life, and just an inspiration, and to kind of see where you become and have this conversation. It's definitely my pleasure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's Mike's first podcast too. So let's go easy on him today. He is no longer maybe my little brother, but still younger brother. And I'll still always view him as little brother, even if he's 6'4" and starting to get more jacked than I am. Not quite, but starting to get there. So Mike, give a listeners, let's say you hopped on an elevator with one of our listeners, you got 60 seconds to just give a real quick description of who you are and what are you most excited about right now?
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. I just think, looking at it, it sounds funny, but I'm an ordinary guy. You know, like I said, I'm 27 years old, about to be 28 in February. I'm a teacher. I teach high school special ed. And like I said, I have an amazing, beautiful wife, Bree. And actually, we are expecting a child any day now. So
Yes.
During this podcast, who knows? Like you said, but no, it's definitely a fun journey that I've been on, and kind of just, like I said, an ordinary family, kind of two great parents, and this journey, this beautiful life that kind of takes me through. And it's just, like I said, I'm a friendly, ordinary guy, and just looking forward to, like I said, kind of inspiring everyone that I possibly can.
Yeah, I love it. And we said if the baby comes, we're just gonna roll it live, and we'll see where it takes us.
You have to coach me through it, Dave. It'll be okay.
Well, I haven't been there either, but we'll do our best. Yeah, you keep throwing around the word ordinary though, and I want to hear kind of what that means to you, or how do you bring a different outlook to ordinary though? Because I think it's easy to look externally and be like, okay, well, I'm not doing this. I don't own a business. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not this and that. And to see yourself as ordinary, but I wouldn't, observing your life, I know you don't show up as ordinary in your interactions and your relationships, and seeing how you've grown. How do you separate that? Because externally you're saying I'm this ordinary guy, but how do you show up more than that in your day-to-day, in the little things?
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, growing up, it was so easy for a lot of us. And I think, like you said, not faced with a lot of adversity, not faced with a lot of challenges. And in my eyes, I kind of looked at that as, oh, we're just kind of going through the motions. But the more I've matured throughout my life, and just kind of having those conversations with the people around me, with you, with like family, friends, whatever the case is, like you see this transformation of where I was even 5-10 years ago to where I'm at today. Yeah, I would say there definitely is that transition of being more than just ordinary. And I know we'll probably talk about it a little bit today, but I just think it's kind of making that transition and changing a little bit with your mindset of thinking about kind of how can we be extraordinary? I mean, just looking back at it, like I was an ordinary guy a couple of years ago, and I'm still making those steps to becoming extraordinary for my wife, for my future family. And I think it's a process. And like I said, still a lot of growth, but it's something that I'm super excited about and ready to take this journey head on.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And I love you clearing that up, because I do think you show up extraordinary in a lot of ways too. And it's, seeing your growth over the past, 5 years, past 3 years, past year, even it's really cool to see as you step into these new roles. Because if we look at life changes that have happened recently, you look at getting married, buying a house, starting a family, finally getting jacked for the first time in your life, seeing a lot of professional growth, but some of these different things that there's been these constant changes that, externally have been happening, but I want to hear more about the internal changes that have happened. Cause on the outside, it's, we look at these things and it's like all these next life steps, these things that you're doing, and we're seeing external growth, but how has your mindset changed most over, let's take the last, few years from getting married to seeing professional growth to doing those things? How's your mindset evolved the most and maybe changed and evolved over those last few years?
Yeah. And I think just my overall mindset too is just not settling for less, because it was so easy for a lot of my life, not facing a lot of those challenges. But I mean, you see these things, these everyday struggles, that come up, these kind of trials that come up in your life, and just reflecting on that every year, every month, every day, and like taking it step by step, and what can I do to be better? I know we've had these conversations too of, I want to break free from like the traditional, oh, like it works, or life's going to get busy, or work's going to get busy. Like, how do you handle this? Like, marriage is hard. Like, yeah, of course, those things come up, but it is just kind of reflecting on, how do I want to grow as an individual to best support my wife, to best support my family, to best support all my friends and everyone that I encounter, and just kind of thinking on and dwelling on that, and just saying, how could I grow? How could I grow from there? And I feel like 10 years ago, I was in a rut of just, let's go through the motions. But now, kind of year by year, you see how much you grow. And I know, like I said, there's still so much potential there, and so much growth that still has to occur. But just kind of reflecting on it, and just having that honest conversation with yourself on, how can you be better for the people that you care about?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and it's an ongoing journey, but it's one that never stops. But at the same time, it's one that we're in day by day. And when did that flip for you? Because I know, like you've mentioned a couple of times too, we had a, I guess if you want to keep the word ordinary, like it wasn't we didn't face the challenges that other people might have faced growing up. We had it kind of middle class Midwest of
Mm-hmm.
it was always good enough. Like we always had food on the table. We took trips. We were able to do things. We never had a surplus, but we were never struggling either. When did that never settle mindset start to creep in for you? Because I know, and Lindsay and I had a point of that where we wanted more out of our life and started to adopt that same mindset. But when did that occur from you, from maybe being just complacent of going through the motions to never settling? Was it a specific life event? Was there something that happened, or what kind of flipped that switch?
I think too, I mean, we've seen a lot of, like I said, being in your 20s, you see kind of the friends that you hang out with, and you go through those stages of like, oh, like this is fun, like this is all about life. And then once reality hits, like it's just the honest truth of, yeah, reality does set in, and getting a job. And I mean, like I said, that falling into my plate, like I'm extremely grateful for that. And then also too, like my marriage with Brie as well. I think it just, like I said, it definitely flips, where it's not just about me anymore. It's about so much more, to where I can, like I said, I now have to take care of my amazing wife. I now have a family that's set in. So like every year, I feel like it was just transitioning and just growing more, where it is not just, I'm not an ordinary guy anymore. Like I see my experiences through my students, with teaching. I see it through my friends, and as they grow and they develop and they have these new life stages. So I don't know. I don't think there was like a set moment, but the more that we have those conversations, the more I'm able to reflect on it. It definitely puts things into a different lens, and we're able to kind of take a step forward and say, like, I'm tired of being just ordinary, and I'm ready to take the step to the next level.
Yeah, it's good. And you say there's not a specific moment, but it sounds like what you are saying is that when you stop living just for yourself, or living for a life of just like, oh, having fun, or just getting by, or trying to enjoy life. And I don't want to say there's anything wrong with enjoying life. And I need to be careful how I say this, when that's the only thing you're after, when it's like, hey, I just want to enjoy life. Like my job here is to just have fun and go do what I want. And if you're not participating in something bigger, whether that's a relationship, a spouse, a family, a higher purpose in our religion, in your faith, if you're not if you're not grabbing onto something higher, something outside yourself, then I think that's where people can get complacent, or they lack the ability to really develop the way that they can lead and the legacy that they can leave, because they're so focused on just focusing on me. But it is a delicate balance, because I think one of the best ways that we can lead others and lead our spouses, lead our families, is by investing in ourselves. And how do you balance caring for Bree, caring for family, being intentional about your relationships, but also working on yourself and investing in yourself and making sure that you're filling your own cup?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question too. I just think, like you said, prioritizing what's truly important in your life. And again, like you said, sitting down every day, it's a strategy that you actually gave me too, and just, what do you want to get done today? What is truly important on your to-do list, if you want to say, on how you could truly invest in yourself, the people you care about. And I think just doing that at the start of each morning and just saying, hey, I know Bree's having a rough time with so-and-so. Maybe she had a bad day at work. Maybe she's having trouble with pregnancy, whatever the case is. Like, just knowing where she's at and meeting her halfway, and prioritizing that, where it's being able to take a step back and say, it's more about how to care for others and how to, like I said, invest myself and share my gifts and my kind of just being able to invest in that and be able to share the love with others. So yeah, it's definitely, it's not an easy question, but it's tough to try and manage. And I know it's only going to get harder. I know it's only going to get harder with the child coming. And I'm sure many listeners out there, they have that struggle of trying to prioritize all these things. And I'm not an expert at it by any means, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn and kind of step up and be able to balance all of these as best as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's so good. And your willingness to learn is what has gotten you as far as it has, and what will continue to carry you, just because that the acknowledgement of, hey, I'm not an expert. I'm still learning. I'm growing. I'm seeking out these things. I'm listening to the podcasts I need to, reading the books, surrounding myself with the people I need to. Those things are going to help carry you. But what you're also saying, and to kind of summarize your point of how you balance that, and we've talked a lot about it, because I've coached Mike both formally and informally a whole bunch with just with our conversations. And we talk a lot about intentionality, and with any of the coaching clients I have, it's a high degree of intentionality, because that is what's going to help buffer the external side of life and environment. Of, you say, I hear you saying that it's like, well, things are only going to get busier from a time standpoint. Yes, but the intentionality is something that can stay the same. And it's just like we talked about in a few weeks back, of it's just changing the, turning the dial maybe in terms of how much you can get done. Of, if you have less time, then those no fail items we talk about, those set to-do lists, become, okay, maybe it's much smaller of a thing that I have to get done today, versus if you have a lot of time or a full day to work on something, then you can bite off a little more in terms of that no fail list. But it comes down to being intentional across those different areas, not just work, not just finances, not just in our marriage, not just spiritually, but combining all those things, because we can't separate. Sometimes we try and silo these things as guys and be like, oh, I'm only working on this today, but not on this. And I'd love to hear from you. How do you blend together those different things? We talk a lot about the importance of spiritual, physical, financial, obviously our marriage, other relationships, our mindset. How do you balance all those things and kind of incorporate those things into your day-to-day, versus being like, okay, I'm only going to work on this for 30 minutes, then I'm going to go do my workout, and I'm going to do this? How do you kind of blend and marry those things together?
Yeah. Like I said, I think it comes back to that reflection piece. And like I said, having a great plan in place that you provided for me too, with prioritizing what is important for me specifically. And again, it's a great thing to do at the beginning of the year, like January. Oh, it's great. Like, let's reset, let's start over. But I don't think it necessarily needs to be like a New Year's resolution. It could just be something where, if you're struggling in a certain area, whether it is marriage, like, take a step back and say, okay, well, how could I improve this? What's truly important to the both of us, and making sure that we are optimizing our time together, and that we're building an excellent foundation as well through our marriage. Or maybe it is spiritual. Maybe you're a little distant from your faith if that's something that that you truly do care about too. And managing those things, because personally, I've realized over the years of, if I don't manage certain attributes with like characteristics of physical, like if I don't get my workout for the week, I'm going to be stressed. And so I make sure I put a little bit of time in there to manage that, even if it is a 10, 15, 20-minute workout, just a quick circuit to do, just to kind of get that in and get me in the appropriate mindset. Same thing with spiritually. Oh, well, if I didn't dig into the Bible today, or I didn't pray today, like there's all of these characteristics that come into play with it, where I know what affects me. So tailor it to your needs, and tailor it to what you know and how you function best, where you are your best self. And you can kind of categorize from there and take a step back and say, okay, like this is what I truly need to focus on today, or this month, or this year, and have those conversations. They're hard conversations with yourself, but the more you can reflect on that, I think the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Yeah, there's so much good to unpack in there. And, a couple of things you said is, here is taking inventory of where you're at too, of knowing what's important physically, knowing what's important spiritually that you need, knowing those, again, those no fail things, those non-negotiables within your marriage, within your fitness, within your mindset, within other personal development things. And then it becomes, working backwards in a sense of, okay, how much do I need to invest in different ones of these? Because we don't have to put out the same output into each area to necessarily see the same results. If you're the type that your health is dialed in and workouts aren't a problem, this is a category I fall into, where I've been through sports. I've been working out pretty hard and consistently since I was 13 or 14, and been around a gym, and 4 or 5 days a week has been pretty much my routine for more than half my life now. So for me, the fitness side doesn't take much effort to keep going. It's already got the momentum, but I need to spend a lot more time on my leadership, on our business, on financial, on even in our marriage, like intentionally doing those things, because those things might not come as naturally to me. And I think I just loved how you said that you can start anytime. It's like starting right now. The calendar flip isn't changing anything. Just because it says 2021 isn't a magical year that 2020 is in the past. And I hate to be blunt about this, but someone needs to hear it, that if you expect just the change of a calendar year, if you expect just because it's 2021 that it's going to look different than your 2020, but you're not working on your mindset, you're not working on yourself, you're not identifying these things, your year is going to look a lot similar to what it did in 2020. So making that intentional decision to not settle, to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. What I want to hear from you, because you've got another big life change coming up, a kid on the way here, little baby girl, and what's looking ahead at this year, as you talk, looking ahead at your weeks, months, years, like what does this year look like to you? What things are you intentionally working on? Where are you looking to grow? Where do you need to spend more time personally from your honest evaluation?
Yeah, I thought that was your uncle duties. I thought that you were going to take control of that. So
yeah, uncle will tell you best. I got some good uncle socks to go with it, so we're all good.
No, yeah, I think this is like the $1 million question too, and I don't know what to expect. You obviously hear all of these stories from coworkers, from family members, from friends that have been through it too. I think it's like everyone says, every child is different. You don't know what you're going to expect. I could be getting 12 hours of sleep. I could be getting less than one. So whatever the case is, and just taking it as it comes. I think it does start. I mean, we touched on this too, like just the mindset aspect of just being able to understand that we are now starting a family, like how, but at the same time, I still have all of these pieces of my life that I still need to focus on, whether that is like mental, physically, like these are all, it's not going to completely change how I view things. So yes, it's going to be a reality check on, hey, there's going to be times where I need to switch up certain things and certain ideas, and taking that as it is. And like I said, I understand there's going to be struggles, but there's also going to be some amazing points in my life as well. And it's just, like you said, another stage in my life, and I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to grow through that. I'm looking to, like I said, take this and and not just be the traditional, oh, you're going to lose sleep. And maybe then we could have a podcast in a year and you can say, I told you so, where I'm sitting here drinking 3 cups of coffee a day. Like I get that. I get all those things, but just kind of going into it with a positive mindset and just knowing that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And we're going to take it as it is. And as these things arise, I'm going to invest in things that are still important to me. And I truly think that, like I said, I'm going to love my baby girl to death, but just knowing that it's about me and Bree. It's about building our foundation. We are a team, and just making sure that that is my number one priority going into all this, and everything will take care of the rest, and we'll tackle the situations as they arise.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, and first off, you guys are going to do great, even with the unexpected, all that stuff. I'm super excited for you guys, but at the same time, I love that you're going to continue to invest in what's important, and it might look different, like you said earlier. It might not be, hey, I can get a 90-minute heavy strength training workout in every day, but the what gets figured out in terms of what the actual specifics are. If you know, like, hey, my health is important, maybe some days there's no workout, or it's a walk, or it's like some stretching and just making sure you're eating well. But that looks different when you prioritize health, when you prioritize your spiritual life. It's like, I'm going to find a way to make that a priority, even though it might not be hours of reading or prayer or different things, but those things tend to just kind of fill in the gaps if you're making sure that they're still a priority. And is any one of those, as you reflect on these different areas of your life, especially as you get into, this new stage of life, is there a certain area of your life that you're, I don't say most excited about, but most feeling the need to work on at the given moment?
At the given moment, yeah, I think we like financially, I think that's something that's going to take a little bit of a toll. I think, like you said, coming from middle class, having everything provided to us, and just making sure, like, oh, like we're set. Mom goes to Costco and she buys 2 pounds of steak and like you said, 2 salmons, and that's enough for us. So we're, again, super grateful for that. But now it's going to flip, and just knowing that we have a child to take care of, and we have to make sure we're having those conversations of, well, what's next? Do we want to provide, or we're going to want to pay for their college, just like mom and dad did for us? And having those luxuries and knowing that it is just something that can be a conversation, and just something to refocus on those needs in your life, and what you truly want. So I think, yeah, it's one of those things where I know it's not going to be easy. And like I said, as we go through this process, just sitting down and having those conversations with each other, and tackling it head on.
Yeah. And if you're, and if you and Brie are on the same page, and if you're prioritizing these relationships and those things are clicking, then again, those things get figured out. Those things aren't things you have to necessarily worry about. You have to be open about. You have to be able to have those conversations, but they're not things necessarily that you have to worry about. But at the same time, it's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to get complacent. See a lot of guys I talk to that fall into this category of, whether it's, okay, I have this kid, so I'm going to put off my health for the next year, or maybe our finances, we'll be spending more for next year, so we'll start that the following year. Or I've walked away from my faith, but that's something that's important to me, but not right now. I got too much going on. And that lack of urgency, I think, is dangerous, because that tomorrow turns into next year, turns into 5 years or 10 years go by, and all of a sudden you're still not where you want to be. And I'm going to be, I know you don't mind me sharing this, because I know you're an open book about everything, but you struggle with like procrastination and putting things off before. And, that's been an ongoing struggle that I know you and I have been working through of how to address that. But how do you, how have you, and not that you've overcome it, but what strategy have you used for someone that finds himself in the same situation, someone who's struggling with putting off what's important, or putting off what they know needs to get done, and maybe a little bit in that complacent mindset? What have you done maybe practically to help get over that hump and start to reverse some of that?
Yeah, I touched on it earlier too, but I think it's just something so simple that I can reiterate with. You lay out something at the beginning of the day and just saying, this is no doubt in my mind, like, I'm going to get this done today. So whether that is, I'm doing my master's, I'm going back for my second master's, and just saying, like, maybe it's a master's assignment. Maybe it is going for a walk with Bree, and maybe it is, like I said, limiting my TV time, whatever the case is, to just know that you're going to get it done, and you're going to hold yourself accountable for that as well. because the moment that you slip up and you say, okay, well, like I said, no matter what, whether it is you're getting home at 11 p.m., 11:30, and you're about to go to bed and you're just exhausted, but you made a promise to yourself at the beginning of the day, knowing that I'm not going to let myself down. And I know I told myself this at the beginning of the day. We get it. It might stink. You might be tired, exhausted, but the moment you get that done, you're already telling yourself like, hey, I accomplished this. And then one thing leads to another. Maybe you add something to the to-do list, whether depending on what time you have too. And it's almost like this domino effect that helps push you in the right direction, to put you in the right mindset to be like, okay, like I can do this, and I could literally tackle whatever situation arises in realistic terms. So just being up to you.
Yeah, man, I love that. Yeah, because that's that as you prove that you can take on one thing, and it might be something so small. It might be like, today I'm going to walk around the block, and it's this little vote of confidence each time you do that, and it's this little momentum, this snowball effect that happens as you do it. And then as you prove to yourself that you can do some of these things, then your capacity tends to improve of what can I take on? What can I get done? Because a lot of people, they'll look from the outside and they'll see people, they'll be like, how do you get so much stuff done? You're doing this and you have this going on, and your guys' relationship is all, and it's just these small daily habits, these things that over time you find a way to build your capacity, just be able to take on more, because it starts out small though. You don't just take that all on from day one, but that just builds some really big momentum over time. And what you're describing is just screaming to me too, is just accountability. And that's something to talk to a lot of guys about, talk to all my clients about, we've talked a lot about, is just accountability for yourself and accountability from others. And those two things are super powerful. If you're looking to do anything and you're missing those two things, first off, if you can't be accountable to yourself, if you say, hey, so I'm gonna get done today, and we take the opposite scenario, you go to bed, you're like, oh shoot, I never got around to that. And the next day comes like, oh, I put that off again today. That just starts to cast the opposite vote. If you start to have those doubts, those insecurities come in of like, well, maybe I am a procrastinator. Maybe I am someone who doesn't get things done. So we have the power with our actions to vote and to show ourselves that we can be accountable. And then when there's external accountability, that's even more powerful. If you can stack those two things together, that's a really, really powerful strategy for reaching your goals. Mm-hmm. And a couple things, we might have to get you back on here some other time. It's fun to talk. And I know we're on a bit of a time limit here, so I want to be respectful of time and make sure baby doesn't come while we're on the podcast. But I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, because I'm curious. This is a unique situation as me interviewing my own brother, someone, again, who I've formally and informally coached in a lot of different ways. What's the biggest thing you've taken away or learned from me over the past few years that you've applied to your life? Like what's been the most impactful thing that you've taken, applied, and how has that positively impacted your life?
Yeah, no, that's an amazing question. And I know how you like to just challenge my thinking, because that's what you do. But no, it's like you said, I always go back and I reflect on like where I was 5-10 years ago. And I think the biggest thing that you've taught me too is just this idea of growth, and like just knowing that you're going to get better every single day. Like I know you've always, when you first started the business, like you would sign your little emails like better every day. And that's literally what I've looked to. And that's what's inspired me too, of it's okay. It's okay to be struggling. It's okay to have issues that arise, like these problems that come, but knowing that every day you wake up, all right, well, make today better than yesterday was, whether it was a good day or a bad day. And that, like I said, it just starts stirring you up in this mindset aspect. And then you can reflect and touch on areas of your life that you want to improve. But it's just something so simple that, I don't know, I'm looking to get better every single day, as a husband, as a father, as, like I said, friend, family member, whatever the case is. Like you could literally just wake up every day and just say, it's going to be better. It's going to be better than yesterday. And I think from that, like there's always room for growth. There's always room for growth, and you're going to continue to, like I said, be extraordinary. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome journey, and it's going to be great. And I can't appreciate it enough to all that you've done for me as well.
Man, it's cool to hear. Yeah. And that's something that's so important, of just that mindset is something that you can adopt. Anyone can adopt. It's how can I be a better mother, father, friend? How can I be a better coworker? How can I be a better boss? How can I take wherever you're at, whatever area you want to improve? And that simple question, then you do that every day. Answers will start to pop up of how do I be a better father? Okay, maybe I didn't do as good today as I, as I maybe wanted to. I snapped a little bit. How can I be better? Like, oh, well, maybe if I got, more sleep, maybe if I got my workout in, I wouldn't have been so irritated. And then it's just those little things that carry on over time. It's fun to see you just adopting that though, and going all in on that of saying, how can I keep doing that? Cause like you say, it's something that's simple. It's not complicated, but the things we look for, the solutions, guys come to us with, like they're wanting these, big elaborate things, but it's like in reality, it's like, hey, no, you better fall in love with the boring, fall in love with the simple, fall in love with just those small steps of improvement, because that's what's going to really create the big change over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. So one more closing question before we leave here. So I want you to think about a low point in your life, and I'm not going to ask you to share what that is, but kind of take a second to see yourself there, picture what it felt like. We've all had those times in our life where we've had doubts, been flooded with overwhelm, isolation, confusion. Some people might find themselves in a spot like that right now that are listening. And if you could go back to that moment and give yourself some encouragement in that time, what would you say to yourself?
I would just say, Mike, like you said, there's these times, there's these struggles that you're going to face, but look at how far you've come. Look at how far you've come from the start of this journey. And like I said, it's definitely going to get better. As cliche as that sounds, just take it head on. I mean, you have the support around you. You have an amazing family, amazing friends, an amazing wife. Like all of these things that come into play, it's going to get better. And use those resources that you have. Whether it is just talking out loud to someone that you care about, or sitting down and just being in your own thoughts and just saying, well, where am I at right now, and how do I want to change this, and how do I want to be better? So again, you've definitely, I've been there, I've been in those thoughts, but just knowing that it's definitely going to change, and like I said, we can tackle this together. So it's going to be awesome.
Man, so good. I love it, bro. And I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you getting your first podcast under the belt. Who knows? Maybe first of many. Maybe you got a career ahead of you in that. Are you on social media channels? Can people find you anywhere if they want to shoot you a message, shoot you any questions or encouragement?
Yeah, I'm in Facebook, the usual, Michael Paczkowski. My Instagram account, MPAC2733, MPAC 2733. That was my account from like high school. So maybe you can go back and see some embarrassing moments of kind of pictures from the past. So no, I mean, I'd love to talk with anyone if they want to kind of further have a conversation. I'm here for you. So, but yeah, no, Dave, it's been a pleasure. You're incredible, and you're an inspiration to me and everyone that listens. So really appreciate you. And yeah, it was definitely a pleasure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro. And if you guys just want to reach out to Mike to get some more dirt on me, you guys are welcome to do that as well. I know he won't hold back on that. So hit him up. If you guys are interested in coming on our mindset challenge, I mean, we've seen how much Mike has improved over the last few years. And of course I'm biased being an older brother with him, but if you guys want to check out the details on that, it's starting this coming Monday, so February 1st. And normally I know Mike would be in this challenge. He invests in himself whenever these come around. I don't know, with a baby coming, I don't think it's the best timing, but maybe we'll see him in there for one of the days if something changes.
We'll do it.
Yeah. So guys, go and check that out. If you guys have any questions, the link is right there in the show notes. You can also shoot me a text, 760-477-4361. Just text me mindset, and I will get back to you guys with any questions you have on it. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the group. Mike, thanks again. Guys, go crush your day.
Take care, everyone.